Thank you for joining the first edition of Journalist Hangout. This week, I am your regular host, Ayodele Uzubaku. Today on the program, Senators Sabi and Melaye stoned in their constituencies. IGP files 5 billion naira libel suits against Senator Misau. Niger Delta Avengers vows to resume bombings. I'll be hanging out with Asuko James, Ismail Omekwidon, and Wale Adedayo. So if you are ready, let the hangout start now. Glad to have you back. For those of our viewers that have been asking after Babajide Kolade Otitoju, actually he was meant to have been here, and we still spoke this morning, flight connections and everything. We know the way these things are, but he's on his way back to Lagos, Nigeria. Hopefully tomorrow he's going to join us on the show. Now, there's no doubt that the country is still in a terrible shape. Things are still quite bad. The hunger and frustration in the land today is alarming. It is so bad that suicide is fast becoming a norm. The people remain agitated and relentless in their hope for a better future, yet they feel shortchanged by those they have elected to represent their interests in the political arena. As another election year draws near, Nigerians are fast losing their patience and are letting out their anger. Over the weekend, Senator Aliyu Abdullahi Sabi and Senator Dino Melaye were attacked by youths in their constituencies for failure to represent them while in the National Assembly. Are this the sign of what politicians should expect in 2019? Wale, let me start from you. Because this we've seen this kind of pattern with the bold step taken by the people of Kogi states to actually test the recall process. I said it earlier in the program that the process is cumbersome. It will take a lot of political will and a lot of behind the strings. But for the first time, these people are taking it to, showing seriousness ever, by compiling over 180,000 constituent signatures and everything. Taking it further, we are not happy with you. They decided to show it. Sometimes when you're not happy with them, they could only, but when they see the subject matters, the sound might change. Maybe when you dangle money right in front of them and everything, so they can calm tension. But the people of Kogi, they can't just hide this.
No, on this particular one, I will not support those who stone the senators. It is very, very wrong on two fronts. Number one, if you are aggrieved, you might want to recall these guys back home, follow the normal process.
The process is so difficult.
No matter how difficult it is, you don't take the laws into your hands.
Go to court and the thing will be stifled. And
exactly, that is why we have the laws. If you believe in democracy, it's either you believe in democracy or you don't believe in it. There's no two ways about it. You follow due process, you follow rule of law, you follow the process through which you elected them. You didn't just go to their house to pick them to come and be your senators. Then two, the other one is that there's need to be very, very careful here. Because, there's no doubt, fine, some people might feel aggrieved that they are angry, they have not performed this and that. But you and I need to ask ourselves some questions. For God's sake, what is the yardstick for measuring the performance of a senator? He has no business directly with you there at the grassroots. The person who has direct responsibility, local government chairman first.
Don't forget the basis of the impeachment, recall process.
I understand.
They were saying that it doesn't have, operating office within its constituency, that it doesn't hold consultation regularly there.
I understand all of that. But the first point of contact with the people is a bit far from the senator. That's the truth. I've been there. The first point of contact is the councillor, That one is even a legislator. You are talking about supervisory councillor who holds an executive position. Then you're talking about local government chairman. What about commissioners? What about chairman of boards and parastatals who are from that particular area, then coming to the state governor who holds overall executive powers in that state? Those are the people that directly affect the lives of the people. By the time you are talking about legislators, you are talking about bills and motions in the National Assembly, in the State House of Assembly, at the local government legislature. You see, the challenge we have in Nigeria is that things are so bad these days that you expect your senator, your House of Assembly, your councillor to provide drinking water in your area. You expect them to tar your roads. You expect them to do so many things that ordinarily should be the fault, the problem of the executive. That is the governors and its commissioners, the president and its ministers, the local government chairman and their supervisory councillors. But the tragedy is that not many people know this difference per se, because by the time these guys who are running for office, so many things they promise, which in the first place is not even part of their functions when they get to office. And some of these things they go out to do it. I've seen people running to become House of Assembly members, going around to sing balls. When I get there, I'll do more. For God's sake, what is your business with balls? That is not one of your business. Oh, I'll do your roads. I'll fix this. I'll fix that. It's none of their business. But for me, the major challenge is this. We need to be careful towards 2019 because by the time you start attacking political office holders, what if the guy should mobilize his own people? Then we'll go back to a wet era. You attack me, I bring my own people, then we attack you too. There's no way he won't be able to link up.
I want to believe that Wale is trying to play the devil's advocate here, which is convenient anyway. But if you listen to the people of Kogi State, they are saying that poor representation in Abuja, they are educated enough to aggregate what they are talking about. They've not said Zino has refused to tar their road or has refused to give them borehole. What they are saying, poor representation in Abuja. Well, so the question is...
I don't think Mr. Wale is trying to play the role of the devil's advocate. I say so because I've covered the National Assembly well enough, and I've also followed the political activities in the country over the years. The stoning of legislators, the stoning of politicians did not just start today. It's not new. I recall when Nuhu Aliu was still a senator from Niger State.
Retired AIG.
He had been stoned before. I attended the venue. I attended the occasion.
The stoning occasion.
In the same Kotangura there.
Okay.
General Saleh, the former GOC, who was the only CPC senator from Kaduna Central. One of the reasons why he was not returned at the primaries was that the party executives felt that he was not reaching out to them while he was a senator representing Kaduna Central. Ordinarily, President Buhari
reaching out how?
Well, when they say reaching out, my brother, let's face it.
Yes.
You must give them money. That's the truth. That's the truth. That's the truth.
That's performance.
You must give them money. It's part of the performance. Because the truth is that they monitor the allowances you collect. They monitor the things you do over there. For example, Sahabi, one of the allegations against Sahabi was that one, he was holding that consultative meeting for the first time since 2015. And they asked him, what has he been doing? Why is he coming now?
2 years after.
2 years after. Now, Sahabi rose to defend himself that the president was not giving them enough money. And they asked him, others who have been giving money, who have been doing empowerment program from the same National Assembly, is it your father that is giving them the money? You know, so these people, they know what they're asking for. However, I've always said also that
this is funny anyway.
Most Nigerians have not been able to appreciate fully the role of a legislator.
That's it.
But the legislators too are not helping matters, because when they ask for constituency allowance, they ask for constituency project. We expect them to ensure that these things are done, but most times they don't do it. One man that I have followed his activities closely from the National Assembly is the current Deputy President of the Senate, Ike Ekwemadu. If every senator uses his office and influence the way the man does, I want to believe that the electorate will not ask for too much, because if you ask people around Enugu and outside of Enugu, areas that ordinarily would not have seen a tarred road in their entire life, those roads are being tarred. They have, water, they have boreholes and what have you. and it's courtesy of the man. You know, so when they also
try to influence those constituency projects.
They do it.
To
what some of them do, which is very sad, is that even when these constituency projects are allocated to them, they go and get a contractor who is not likely to execute the project. That's what most of them do. But there are some of them, once the constituency project is being approved, they follow it up, know the contractor, and even set up a committee within the locality to monitor the project.
I have one like that in my area.
To monitor the project. So these people who are asking for, they know what they're saying. And that of Dino Melaye, don't forget that before the election, Dino Melaye was not very popular in the Kaba area. In fact, he won his election from Kotangura area.
From
Lokoja axis.
The state capital.
Yes, that was where he won his election.
These people did not vote.
Smart was in control of the Yoruba-speaking local government in the Central District where Dino comes from. You know, so if they stone him today, for me, I'm not surprised. It's not new because he has never been popular with them, you know, within that access. However, stoning of our legislators, stoning of our politicians should not be encouraged for whatever reason. But I tell you, Jonathan was in Bauchi in the run-up to the 2015 election when Bala, the then FCT minister who was from Bauchi, was being stoned. I mean, it's not new.
FCT minister, national chairman.
Yes.
We have a lot of other bigwigs from PDP,
exactly.
from Bauchi State.
Yes, the president was there. The president was there, you know, so I think it's a pattern that, that is not new. However, we should not encourage it. But even if we don't encourage it, our
let me allow
to do what they expected to do.
I took all your intervention here, looking at what's, you know, Ismail has said and Wale. From which angle will you be looking at the plight of the Kogi people?
Talking about the Kogi people.
Yeah,
no, the plight. Talking about the plight of the Kogi people, they are already suffering. You know, so that one is, everybody knows that because they've not
if
been
you
paid,
remember,
salaries have not been
before
paid.
now,
the governor is claiming to be the youngest governor.
Those senators,
it's not
organizing bags of rice.
Not too young to run.
No, they actually donated those bags
of rice.
Yes, you know, senators actually helped the state.
Like as if
we are in a relief camp. You understand? You understand? And so, like a state that is under that needs serious intervention. Yeah. But if you look at what happened over the weekend, it was more or less like a show of popularity. Let me use that word because I've been able to read some of the statements that came out from Dino's side as well as the governor. Now, Dino actually went to a township stadium. I think they had a Kaba day or something.
Yes.
You know, he went
I think
there.
he addressed them.
He addressed them.
While
the governor was supposed to be at that stadium, actually did this at an hotel.
Yes, he couldn't come out.
A few set of people.
By the time they told him the security report.
Exactly, that Dino was there, so I think he didn't want to go there.
No, as in that the treatment meted out on Dino.
On Dino. No, yes. No, that is what they are saying.
Okay.
You know, that is what they are saying. Because the statement Dino actually said, they sent to us, was that he actually left there as a king. As in, he was proud. His statements were the statement he delivered, the speech he delivered was spellbound, and so the Kogi people were happy with him and all that. So it was this disgruntled element, sponsored by, as in talk sponsored by the governor, that actually came around to stone him. That is what he sent. So whether it is, you can see that it is more or less like, okay, a show of popularity
it's a show of force, really.
But even at that, like what my colleagues have said, 2019 is going to be very interesting because people will be looking at what have you brought to the table? What have you brought to my constituency? What have you brought down? You know, sometimes I used to wonder how Senator Tinubu, you know, whenever she's doing a town hall
quarterly,
meeting,
she has never missed
she will tell the people,
quarterly,
this is what I have. And this is what I've done. And this is what I want to do. Every time I see these things, I wonder, okay, is this how other senators are doing theirs? Exactly. Because if they do that, that is why you've been able to see there's relative peace around that as zone, the Lagos Central, senatorial zone.
She doesn't
she doesn't anytime she's doing that,
give back to the people,
she will give back. And then, you know what surprises me is that she will now say, this is what I collected. You know, this is what I collected.
You see what I said?
A kind of transparency, so that people will see, okay, this is it, and this is what I'm giving back, and this is what I'm doing.
There is no way she will collect and Sabi will not collect. So where is Sabi keeping his own?
It's the same thing, because
honestly,
because just like she's the chairman of a particular committee, Sabi is also
a chairman.
So they will almost be collecting the same thing.
You understand?
So it is the right of people. People will say it is the right of it's their own rights, because now everybody is trying to put their hands into
like
the,
an outside, they say, I couldn't namune. It is for us. So why you can't sit on it alone?
Just like you said, if Nigerians were to knock it, the duty of a lawmaker is for them to make laws, and then
not to come and settle their constituents.
That is when
it's the tragedy
that
we
is
have.
when people will now understand that if you want me to,
you want people to understand?
People will not understand. Let
the
me tell
legislature, if the lawmaker is
that is what you have in
the highest paid lawmaker in the world.
That's what you have in
the lawmaker.
I know. It's the ideal.
The lawmakers too are not helping matters. If you remember,
if somebody is going home with 24 million naira per month,
you see, it is that 24 million that people will say, but I'm not eating since
like Sabi, for example, they say they bought a house. I don't know how true is it, but his people say they bought a house in Metama, and they are saying, okay, if you say they are not giving you money, where did you get money to buy that house from? At least you never had that house before you became a senator. You understand me? Gaya, Senator Kabiru Gaya, the former Kano State Governor, who is the Senate Committee Chairman on Works, his house was set ablaze sometimes in 2016. Why? The people said the promises he made to them before going to the National Assembly, he didn't fulfill it. So I think they gave him, was it 1 year or 6 months, and they didn't see result, and they visited him and applied their own punishment.
And these guys,
wow.
Let me tell you, as the year comes and as the election draws near, let me tell you, Nigerians are getting wiser. They are reading. The social media is giving them whether it is true or not, or they are listening, they are watching, they are reading, and that is going to even make them, our senators, our leaders, even any politician at risk. So anything you are telling people, oh, I'm going to do this, after 4 years or 2 years, they will call you and say, okay, you promised to do this. What is the reason? And that is why what most politicians are not doing is engaging their people.
Their people, yes.
If you engage people, they'll be able to understand where you are taking them to and where you are right now.
Wale, now, when you look at how 2015 panned out, you discover that because of the Hurricane Buhari that swept across the country in terms of people that ordinarily cannot win their local governments, rode on the back of the name Muhammadu Buhari to win election. This factor, will it be playing out in 2019?
No, definitely that will happen. You might want to look at it.
Don't you think people are wiser now?
It's not a question of being wiser.
That time,
just like you rightly said.
2019, change across board, sec.
No, it's happened before now. In 1999, no matter who you are, no matter the kind of qualification you carry, in the Southwest here, once you are 80, what happened? End of story. So
whoever you are,
it was almost the same. It's not a question of people being wiser. What should have happened is that those who benefited from that kind of process, they should have improved themselves. And like he rightly said, there should have been a connection with the people so that you give feedback, you try to know what is going on at their level. So through that, there will be bonding. You'll understand one another. You'll be able to move forward so that at the end of the day, you are not tied to as an appendage to Buhari or to his image in any way. You become your own man.
Exactly.
So if a vote wants to come, whether the man up there is doing well or not, as long as the people see that, oh, this guy is doing well, end of story. You are your own man, and people will vote for you on your own. So to me, I think to that extent, that is what will happen. Those who are doing well, no matter where they find themselves, they will still roll back. But those who have messed up, no matter the kind of umbrella or broom they used to cover themselves, or what? Now we go carry and go.
They'll single them out. Ismail, the last time I saw the visual of Femi Gbajabiamila we're not saying in terms of giving money now, maybe he's the most generous person.
Teacher.
Do you know, he went into a classroom and he taught government.
It was even a 1 week thing.
Yes, English language. And I think when they asked him what, what he wanted to do, he said it's just another source of inspiration. And our legislators, apart from the regular act of lawmaking in the House, can you single out some of them that they've directly impacted on the environment from what they've done in terms of touching lives?
Well, I think there are quite a number of them that have really, tried to touch, the life of their constituent, depending on where they come from, depending on their needs. It may sound funny. I argued it in one of our editorial conference in the office. I said, well, that is what, the first thing Sheikh Osani did for his own people was to buy them transistor radio.
Information.
And somebody, transistor radio. And somebody was telling me that, why will I said, look, information is power. He probably wants them to be alive to
what's going on around
what's happening. I told my colleagues here in the Lagos, I said, look, those of us from the Southwest may not value it, but an average Hausa man on the street there, he values that thing. You understand what I'm saying? But beyond that, I think he has also gone, a bit further, to arrange for a skill acquisition program. But you see, what most of them do, apart from doing empowerment, organizing skill acquisition for them, what they do mostly is, my wife has just been delivered of a baby boy. You will buy the naming the ram for the naming ceremony. Yeah. It's mandatory.
Is that in the constitution?
You will buy it.
You pay school fees.
You send money. You pay school fees. If the wife is hospitalized, you have to intervene. These are some of the things most of them do every day. At least I'm close to quite a number of them, and I've worked closely with one of them. This is what they... In fact, when I resumed
so the money they take from the National Assembly.
Yes, now. My brother, when I resumed as an aide in the National Assembly, before I returned to the newsroom, the first week of my resumption, the text I got was 45, and all assistance, school fees.
Text you got on behalf of your principal?
No, because they know that I have a political appointment
now.
I have money, so I must share. and I tell them, I said, look, I'm not a politician for crying out loud. I just came to offer service here.
Nobody will listen to you.
Nobody will listen.
No. At that level.
At that level. So I now equate it to, and the most unfortunate thing is that even amongst us, I don't know if any of us have contested for NUJ election before. My brother, I ran for the NUJ chairman for Kaduna State. The day I declared my intention that I was going to run, I was sitting in the restaurant. 5 of our colleagues came to sit down. They were going to eat at the same time. I must pay.
And we call you my chair.
I must pay.
My chair.
My brother, within that period of election, it was just 1 month interval. Somebody will pay house rent. I must contribute.
Are you for real?
Look, I'm sure some of them are listening to me. Some persons who want to, maybe the child is sick.
At that level.
You must, so, and I look at it, I say, look,
so
if at this micro level, that was when, and by then, so when I now took up that appointment and I was faced with it, I said, oh no. I said, I can understand why some of these people steal. I'm not encouraging them to steal, but we, as the electorate, we encourage these people to steal. Because when you ask them for things that ordinarily is far beyond
their responsibility now.
Their legitimate means, where do you want them to get the remaining from?
That's what I mentioned earlier, talking about the governors and local government chairmen. That is their own primary area. That is where they should intervene.
Asuko now, do you think Senator Dino Melaye has helped out in any way? Now, you have a senator that if he's within his garage, he will take a selfie. You will see all sort of Escalade, you see, sophisticated vehicles, armored and everything, and my senator or Jide's senator will have the effrontery. He will snap with it and upload it on his Facebook page. And, you know, if he's in Russia, he's, you know,
He's doing so.
do you understand? And you begin to look at, okay, it's people in this country back then, man, you are getting all these cars. Even if he's as petty as even drinking wine. If he's drinking wine, I think there was one that was customized for him. So he will still bring it to the social media. So the people of Kogi State are now looking at this man. They know he's not the governor, and they expect at least some things from him.
Oh, definitely. See, the thing is, Dino himself is a big problem, both to himself and to his people. Because if you look at it, we have said it that just like Wale said, the thing is, all these, there are some things that are meant for the councillors, for the local government chairmen to do, to handle. But when once a senator who is up there is showing us wealth and showing us that, oh, there's so much money up there.
Yes, to play around.
To play around, to buy toys, to buy cars that cost toys. It will be very, very difficult for you to convince anybody in his constituency that.
Okay, so let me pick my first caller. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, Ozubako.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. And your panel of guys, Ismail, Asuko, and Wale.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Well, it's very unfortunate what is happening today. Our senators have turned to be the voice of opposition as of today, because we don't have active opposition. So that was why people now understand what we call their body language. So now people don't trust them anymore, and they collect constituency allowances. To whom much is given, they say, yeah. So they now know the quantum of money these guys are taking home. And most of them doesn't deliver. So that was why, apart from the political whatsoever, but people don't trust them anymore.
Thank you. Thank you, Abdul Razak. Thank you for that contribution. When we return, IG files 5 billion naira libel suit against Misao. Stay with us. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this breather. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout. For those of you just joining us through our terrestrial platform, and we're reaching you live from Television Continental here in Lagos, Nigeria. The Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, is a troubleman at the moment. He has remained constant in the news for the wrong reasons, just like some of his men. Ever since Senator Misao opened a can of worms about the police boss in August 2017, the controversies surrounding the case keeps getting messy. Last week, the Senate threatened to issue arrest warrants for the police boss if he refuses to honor its invitation to testify on Misao's allegation tomorrow, that's Tuesday. Over the weekend, the IG, in a bid to rubbish Misao and affirm that his allegations are nothing, filed a libel suit of 5 billion naira against the senator. What exactly is going on here, Ismail?
Well, first, I want to commend the IG for making the effort to sue by himself. You know, initially, the Attorney General of the Federation was to handle the suit on his behalf, and we're querying the rationale, the motive behind it, because IG is an individual. He can sue and be sued. You know, so now that he has taken the bold step to sue, let's see what comes out of it. However, my worry is this. It's a simple thing. You are a thief. I'm not a thief. Okay, come and tell us why you are not a thief. Misao's allegation may appear wide because since the day he made that allegation, I've been wondering to see how it was possible for somebody to be collecting 10 billion on monthly basis. For me, it's outrageous. But that is not to say that some monies are not being collected, because, you know, it's just like...
I don't think any state gets an IGR of 10 billion in Nigeria.
You understand? Yeah, the money may be high.
No,
For
no,
whatever,
no.
I don't know why Misao had to...
Oh, no,
exaggerate.
You know, how to exaggerate. But then, when you sue for libel, you say you must be able to prove that you even have the character that is being libeled. You know, the case for me will be an interesting one, because one thing most people forget is that, you know, in the law court, so many things that you don't want to be said outside will become public. People will be saying them. You understand what I'm saying? There was one governor in one of the states I've had cause to work. He sued somebody for, I think, defamation. And then they tried to stop our colleagues from attending the court session. But somehow I got information of what the case was going on. I think were about 2 journalists who covered that proceeding. On the first day in court, when one of the accused person mounted the witness box, she was telling us how the governor was born out of wedlock. and the next Monday, you know, song we just started then, that was it was a screaming headline. So bastard witness. Now, because I reported from the court, you can sue me, because it was the proceedings of the court which I reported. So I think the IG is just that I don't think the IG rushing to court will stop the Senate's investigation. If the attempt of going to the court was to stop the Senate investigation, I doubt much. I doubt much if that will stop it. But then, Misao will have to come forward to prove his, allegation. But I know that there's no smoke without fire, because Misao was an orderly to Alero, who was as FCT minister. And as an orderly to Alero, it's possible he must have paid his way to get the posting as orderly to an FCT minister. So he understands the game better. He knows, I'm sure he knows what he's talking about. My only concern is that the amount involved here, for me, appears to outrageous to be true.
I think part of what Misao will be expected to prove in courts is, you know, that 120 billion naira per year. As in, okay, this is how he collected it, and how the amount to 10 billion naira one by one, not just a blanket.
May I have another view to what Ismail mentioned, apart from the fact that the senator will ask to bring evidence about his claims. The fact is that going to the Senate to testify by the IG is not just a question of the Senate. Don't forget, the police and the Senate leadership, they are not
on the same page.
They are not on the same page at all. There are issues involving the Senate leadership and the police on one hand. So in a way, you might want to say that the court should be a neutral ground for both sides, instead of the Senate, which is already having some issues with the police, inviting the police to come and explain some things. Look, it's better we go to a neutral ground to go and explain. But by and large, at the end of the day, I sincerely feel that from the word go, it is the Police Affairs Committee of the Senate that should have worked on whatever that senator had. Because if the information I got at that time was right, if the stories one read in papers was right, that a special committee was set up to investigate the matter, not the police affairs committee, because whatever involves the police, for God's sake, they will understand the police and whatever concerns the police more than any other group of people. Beyond the fact that a few of them might have been retired police officers, the kind of links they have with the institution and the National Assembly will be much more than those who are just coming together as a committee.
Well, like I think it was last week that we discussed this Misao IG issue. I still stand that it's more of a personal issue that want to turn national issue.
Exactly.
You know, both of them know why they are quarreling. You know, but now that they are taking the case to court, it will be very, very interesting for us to see what the outcome will be. Because I want to see why and how, in quotes, the IG has been getting monies from oil companies just to secure the oil companies, the billions of naira he has been collecting, and yet we still have officers, you know, still collecting their 20 naira on the streets, you know, and some of them even wearing slippers, you know. So we want to see that he's collecting this amount of money. These are allegations, and Mr. we have to prove. It is not something that you just come like the other time that he was on the floor of the Senate. He was now talking about him sleeping with some policemen. Those ones are just drama. We don't want to. That one is not what people want to.
Because in court.
Because now he has to also
beyond
prove
reasonable doubt.
Because he has to prove.
The owners of proof.
You know, it lies with him now to bring evidence and say, okay,
substantiates.
Fine, he was sleeping with these women and giving them promotion. And okay, fine, he was also collecting monies from these oil companies. Which oil companies? Which director? Is there a receipt to that effect? Which bank? You know, so it is not just something for him to just
getting the money.
It's not for him to just stay on the floor and stand on the floor of the house and begin to, you know, mount these allegations. He has to prove, and Nigerians are interested because something that was once a family matter has now turned to a national matter, and anything that concerns that is for everybody, we will now want to see how the outcome. And this one, they are not going to sweep it under the carpet. But the unfortunate thing about Nigeria is that by the time it's 2018, if this case is still in court, election is coming, so people will just forget about it, you know. And you know, because people will just forget about it, and then that is where we won't see the end.
No, I think
but
case...
as it stands today, because the case, I think they want to, you know, hasten the case. Because by November 13, the civil case will be on. That is the defamation. They already have a judge. It is going through justice, I think, Okeke also. You know? So he will start. So he will now start proving. So then the IG, if I were to be the IG, I will also go to the Senate. I'll face the Senate. The worst the Senate can do is they want to investigate. So if they investigate, fine. But the thing is, it's already in court. And that is where the Senate will also have issues, because anything that is in court, they can't discuss.
No, I think there's a Supreme Court ruling.
Are you sure?
That affects that, as in, these are different arms of government. You can't always come to and twist
I don't know what the judgment is about, but the Senate standing rule says that once a matter is in court,
they can't
but in this case, they started it before the matter is in court.
Okay, so that one now, it will now be left for the lawyers to begin to...
So the one they don't touch mostly is when it's already in court and you are bringing... In fact, each time you are submitting a petition, either before the Senate or the House, the presiding officer, whether the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, or the Senate President or the President, will ask whether the matter is in court. Because once the matter is in court, they won't touch the petition. In accordance with
this one too, because
but if it's not in court and they start, you now rush to court, except if there's an injunction stopping them, they will still carry on.
Because they claim that nobody can stop them.
But you see,
just like we even said, I was even surprised just why the federal government was involved in it.
I don't really understand the interest. because
Especially
Misao
because
is
of
from
the federal
Bauchi.
government.
Idris, the IG, is from Niger State. Are you understanding me? Now, and from what I know of the matter, it wasn't as if Misao just raised the allegation. I think he was discussing with one of his colleagues, I think the Senate Committee Chairman on Rules and Business, about a case of maybe some persons reported to him that they had not been promoted, you know, blah, 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 blah. So he was not trying to convey, okay, but why did they promote this one? And they leave this one. So the issue of money came up. And I think there was a reporter from one of the media houses there who overheard. So that one got a scoop, and that was how the story,
All right, I have a caller from Lagos. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Please, I really want to talk about this police issue in Nigeria. I think right now, we'll start picking up, because it's not just the senator's allegation, I was once a bank admin, and I know how much we were paying bank police. Every Friday, we were raising 138,000 for just 4 policemen that were guarding the bank every week, every Friday. And once they raised it,
were you giving it directly to the policemen?
No, who raised this money and gave to our own internal security supervisor, who after that evening of that Friday, then the police, because in 4 of them, they will have a supervisor among them. That one will not come and sign off this money. Then they will go back to their station, then the DPO will take his own, then and send direct to Abuja, the one that goes to Abuja. That one is happening, even till today. It's not a new thing. Then if you lose your money through a fraudster, and the police happens to catch this fraudster, they will tell you that if they catch the recovery money, that is not their job, but what the recovery money for you, you will get paid. There's a percentage that goes to Abuja for the Oga, which has happened to me, 3 million that were recorded for me. The one they sent to the IG's office. It's not, those things are happening every day. It's not just bank. It's not just, what of pastors, the general of affairs. They collect big cash from this one. The IG has a percentage. There's the account they set aside to, all these things, if you start picking this, it's too much. And we all know all these things, but nobody wants to talk.
Thank you, Peter.
We can't trust them.
Were there receipts to that effect?
No,
did you have... Peter, okay.
Where will you get the... Usually there's no receipt. Because, I've been involved in organizing activities. If you call for police protection, in fact, there was one particular one, very sad. They asked us to give certain amount of money before they can come to help secure the place for the occasion. We dropped the money. Now the head of the team who came now said, Oga will settle well. That is, Oga has not settled us. So we were forced to now bring another, money to, to give to those guys. So that one, there's no receipt for that. Nobody issued receipt for that.
On this question of the oil, whatever, it's different from the one you're talking about. Statutorily, if you want police protection,
yes,
you are entitled to it. It goes beyond just paying. Something you are entitled to as a Nigerian. You understand now? So whatever other logistics goes with it.
But police has never given account of that money you are talking about.
You don't understand what I'm saying? Is it even supposed to be paid for?
Okay.
That is what you need to know. Then secondly, even if it is supposed to be paid for, is the money, does it go straight to the IG's hands?
Because that's what Misal we have to prove.
All right.
An individual cannot pocket that kind of money. Yes. And what he's talking about is...
All right, we have to, let's just leave it there and we'll move forward and see what will become of this particular case. The fragile peace that has been enjoyed in the Niger Delta region for quite a while is about to come to an end. Militants from the troubled region, which accounts for a huge chunk of the nation's revenue, are threatening to resume bombing this weekend. They have warned that their activities this time will be brutal and bloody, as it will involve casualties. As always, the grudge is not with the kinsmen, who no doubt will be sharing in the disaster that will follow such bombings, but with President Buhari, who they claim is not sincere with his peace talks and promises made to the region. No doubt, they are griefs, but will the resumed bombing be the solution to the problem? We have experienced, it was so bad in 2015 that the nation's economy, in fact, that even brought us into recession, as in that aggravated the economic situation we were facing in the country at that time, because it is expected that we are doing between 1.8, 2.1, 2.2 million barrels a day. At a point in time, it got so bad that we were doing sub 1 million barrel in 2015.
800,000.
Yes, in 2015, difficult times. The forecados in Delta, a lot of all our installations, it was very difficult. And crude oil is just like a lifeline, as in the heartbeats of our economy.
Sure.
Forget all this noise about diversification and everything. Yes, with time, those other sectors will grow, but compared to what's the quick cash, now that we know that the Niger Delta, this region is crucial, and we are out of recession, and it's crucial to our economy. What do you think the president or the federal government would dialogue with those people and promise some things, and by now they've not started saying, because somebody told me that not even a shovel in Ogoni land has been raised.
It is a very, I'm surprised, honestly, because I know last year, okay, it's this year, Oshibajo has been going to the Niger Delta, particularly when the president was out.
Successful
he
talks.
went there several times. He toured all the states in the Niger Delta region,
And made some commitments.
And those commitments are what people wanted full realization.
At least start something.
I know even Pandef actually went even to see the president then. They met with the vice president. And the 16-point agenda, the 16 point that they wanted, part of them were some of the things we wanted to see. Even if you can't even make like 16, start something. There's nothing stopping the federal government from saying, okay, fine, because we don't have enough money, we want to start first with the maritime. Let me tell you, the first thing the federal government was supposed to do was first to do the cleanup. They started with the cleanup. Amina Mohammed, then the minister for the environment, went there several times. I saw pictures. I saw pictures of her going there with some of the oil companies, the stakeholders. I thought by now they would have finished or would have gone very far.
They said
they would have
30 years.
30 years. They would have even gone.
At least start somewhere.
Start something, and so that people will know that, okay, there's a commitment. These people are ready to clean up this region or this particular community. If they started like that, and then they go to the Nigeria Maritime University,
Kerekuku.
They said they are going to they budgeted like $20 billion to start up. Then you say, okay, fine, I don't have 20 billion, I have 10 billion. Let's start.
I have 2.
Or even 2. Then you start. You open the school. By the time you open that school, Ayo, if the federal government opened that school, because I know there was a quarrel between the minister for Kachuku and the transport minister over that university. Because the minister was saying, if you don't want to, I will take it up myself. Like as if he wanted to own it. So it means the minister, that is Kachuku, actually knows the essence of why that university has to be opened. So the federal government would have taken that responsibility to open that university, because it's going to also rub off on the other communities. So there was nothing the federal government, I don't know why they just sat down and they just believed that these guys will not come up. So now people will now say, okay, but these guys, they have every right to start this. But to me, just like every other Niger Deltan, we want that peace. Because if you look at it, Rivers is already finding his way, to coming up, looking beautiful. Same with Bayelsa. Bayelsa, there was always restiveness in Bayelsa. But that peace returned to Bayelsa, and that is why you are seeing Governor Dixon going left and right, bringing development everywhere. And that the federal government has to, this one is not about dialogue. There's no point for dialogue anymore in this case. What we want is action. They want
forgotten that
action.
Atubo is a Niger
Forget
Delta.
about. There's no more. There's
what
no.
we want.
See, listen, Ayo. The only thing that is left is just action. We have finished talking. Oshibajo has been there, going there, traveling, even risking his life. There was a particular point I heard that the youth almost attacked him and things like that. But whether it happened or it did not happen, but the thing is, action. That is what the people want now. They don't want talking. No more talking.
In my course of my travel as a journalist, and I've had to be in some very, very dangerous
Thank God you went to
terrain.
Bayelsa.
And
You went to Bayelsa.
I went to a place they call Okpoma. Okpoma is just like 3 hours on speedboats from Yenagoa.
I was in Alamisia's hometown too.
You know, when I saw the settlement, the villages and everything they had there, they were living close, they were, you know, the lifestyle close to living like animals, because it's the same stream that they defecate, it's the same one that they used to wash their clothes. No cost of even, you can't talk of light, you can't talk of electricity. It's as if they're cut out completely from the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and this has persisted a long time. And the government of Muhammadu Buhari cannot address it in one day.
I agree with you.
Ayo. See, the current administration has its challenges. As we were talking about the senators the other time, let's be realistic. Alhaji Lateef Kade spent just 4 years in Lagos. All the noise we make about Awolowo in the western region, I doubt if it was up to 5 years. You have people in that area. President Goodluck Jonathan was there for 6 years as president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. What in specific terms can he point to in that area, even if it's just by himself?
I went to his village. I went to Otueke.
No, listen. The thing is, has there been an AD governor in Bayelsa State? Has there been an AMPP governor in Bayelsa State? Has there been a CPC governor in Bayelsa State? All true, it's been PDP governors. For God's sake, they don't need more than 4 years to turn things around. The place will not become El Dorado within 1 year. But the reality is that they have failed serially to help their own people. The federal government has challenges, and we support them. You read my posts on Facebook and elsewhere, I'm 100% in support of whatever I talk about. Because to me, derivation should even be 100%, not a question of 50%. But the reality is that their political leaders are a bunch of failures. The other day I saw something on Facebook, James Manager at Delta said he was going to his village and he was on Okada wading through a stream or a river. There is no bridge or anything on that thing. He was taking Okada to his village because a car cannot pass through where he was going to. And for God's sake, calculate since when he has been there. And these are the same people who will be abusing the federal government. So the challenge I think people in that part of Nigeria have, just like they've done to the 2 senators we spoke about here, it is the day they start doing it to their political leaders on the ground there that they too will sit up. It's not a question of blow whatever you want to blow up. Because sometimes I just get angry. Look at the Ogoni cleanup. How many years is it going to take? Whatever destruction happens there is not going to affect my village in Ijebufe. Forget it. It's not going to affect. No, that's the reality. Fine, economic hardship will come in Nigeria. Listen. You do not make cassava. We have cassava in my place, banana and all those things. But what do you Ijebuman want? Once Gary is there, I don't even need the granite. Forget. We'll get by. But on a serious note, the reality is that the federal government should do those things you are talking about. But the first thing that needs to be done is the question of the political leadership in the Niger Delta. You have failures there since 1999. They don't need more than 2 years to turn things around in that place, for God's sake. If you go there, you will. I told you I went to Alamisia's hometown now. I was there as political editor of The Punch. I think I was there for about 3 times or so. The last time President Jonathan was burying the imam, I was in Rivers too. I was a guest there. You understand? When you look at the whole terrain, fine, there is a lot of suffering. There are so many things that the federal government ought to do, which they've not done. But what about the political leadership in those places? What have they done? Given all the billions, if not trillions, they've been getting since 1999. And that's why I asked the question, has AD ruled in that place before as governor, a local government chairman, CPC, AMPP, or any other party? No, it's been PDP all through young people.
It's funny, how come all the intervention agencies, even in the Niger Delta,
Is not enough.
You know, there's a ministry called Ministry of Niger Delta. There is NDDC. They've not.
It boils down to the same thing, leadership failure. But you see, this current threat, from what I've been reading, is not really about federal government not doing what it's supposed to do. That one is a separate thing. But the reform Niger Delta Adventure are even telling the federal government to stop further discussion with PANDEF.
Internal wrangling.
It's like internal wrangling. It's like internal. They are saying, look, if you don't stop discussion with the Edwin Clark-led PANDEF, we will resume attack.
But you know that the
You understand?
reformed NDA is different from the NDA.
That's what I'm saying.
Because
So
the NDA
there are
is discrediting the reform.
the reform.
NDA.
So I think there's also some politics.
Our time is fast.
There's also some politics.
Thank you, Wale Adelaide.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you, Ismail Omikino.
Thank you
for being part of this program. Asuko James, thank you, and hopefully tomorrow you have your man back. Babajide Kolade will be joining us, and that's it on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. on all our major platforms, TSTV 418, GoTV 45, and all the platforms you can see on the screen. It's also, and you can also watch on YouTube. That's youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Ozubako. Bye for now. God bless Nigeria. See you tomorrow.